Hola, mi nombre es Elizabeth Arango y para el artículo de esta semana me centré solamente en un artículo que habla sobre el gobierno corporativo y, digamos, esta conducta que los puede llevar a generar fraudes a nivel empresarial. Entonces, el nombre del artículo de esta semana es Internal Governance Mechanisms and Corporate Misconduct. Dick, Morse and Singles in 2023 estimate that the cost of the corporate fraud detect and undetect destroys 1.7% of the value of equity each year in the United States, which equally at 744 billions in 2020. A common view is that corporate misconduct results from the deficits in companies' internal governance. Therefore, it's not surprising that the legislative reforms have been implemented with the aim of improving company governance worldwide. These reforms aim to improve internal and external corporate governance mechanisms. The key internal mechanisms are the board of the directors and the ownership structure. The primary external mechanisms are the market for corporate control and mass media, which are difficult to regulate. These different mechanisms work together in a system to affect the governance of firms but should be considered complementary. Ergo, the internal governance mechanisms can mitigate agency problems and ensure the firms have substantial value even with little or no external governance by investors. In this study, we investigate law violations in U.S. public companies that are exposed to the same external governance factor as governmental regulatory bodies or media, which complement internal governance and improve efficiency. Perdón. More importantly, this setting allows us to investigate the effect of various internal mechanisms on corporate misconduct and should not be biased by external mechanisms in alignment with agency theory. The relationship between corporate governance and the reduction of misconduct remains a continuous issue, as highlighted by Belte in 2023. Consequently, our research focus on evaluating the various effects on internal governance and their impacts on different types of corporate misconduct. Additionally, we incorporate the evaluation of external audit quality as a critical factor in detecting financial irregularities, underscoring its pivotal role in our analysis. In general, the literature shows the positive effect of internal governance reforms on firm performance and value. Existing research shows that poor governance can cause fraudulent management activities such as earning restates, environmental pollution, stock manipulation, and civil prosecution. Despite its considerable body of research of influence of corporate governance on corporate misconduct, detailed evidence linking these two elements across different dimensions is lacking. However, a broader perspective is required to better understand this complex relationship. We investigate a wide range of internal corporate governance mechanisms and their relationship with various types of corporate misconduct by employing a holistic approach that sets our study apart from existing literature. Unlike prior research, which tends to focus on limited governance measures or specific types of misconduct, our analysis is more comprehensive and covers an expansive structured governance mechanisms. By utilizing a single database of 2,844 non-financial US list companies merged with financial data add formation to diverse categories of corporate violation from 2007 to 2020. We ensure a consistent and thorough analysis. The data include both the frequency of corporate violation and the value of a penalty imposed on the company. The granularity of the data allow us to analyze the relationship between existing governance and mechanisms and corporate misconduct more closely, highlighting the differential impact of the governance measure on different types of misconduct. We found a U-shaped relationship between board size and corporate misconduct. We also demonstrate that the board diversity includes the presence of female board members to score a corporate misconduct. A closer analysis of the types of misconduct revealed that the presence of a family board members is negatively correlated with violation of environmental, safety, and financial laws. In contrast, we found that the great board that gender diversity is positively correlated with violation of employment, government, and health-related laws. By contrast, we show that the board independence is possibly correlated with corporate misconduct. Similar, we find that the strong position of the Chief Executive Officer (CEO) on the board proxies CEO duality and board ownership is also possibly correlated with corporate misconduct. Such insights are vital of policymakers and decision-makers, emphasizing the need for nuanced consideration when shaping governance structures and policies. This study contributes to the literature on internal governance and in several ways. First, to the best of our knowledge, this is the first empirical study to analyze the relationship between internal governance mechanisms and a wide range of corporate violations. Our results shows that not all internal governance mechanisms work as expected to prevent fraud, which could explain the increasing number of corporate misconduct cases despite the change in laws in the past decade. Moreover, our findings align with those of a recent survey of the literature on corporate governance and fair misconduct, underscoring the importance of conduct of a more detailed analysis of such cases of misconduct. Pervelte 2023. Our analysis reveals that specific elements of governance exhibit divergent behavior depending on the type of misconduct, potentially clarifying previously ambiguous results in the literature. Second, we employ a comprehensive dataset to analyze various categories of corporate misconduct, including labor violation, government fraud, worker discrimination, and securities fraud. In contrast, the literature has predominantly focused on a single type of misconduct, such as accounting or security-related violations. Furthermore, while previous studies considered misconduct by individuals, physicians, and politicians, our data concentrate on corporate misconduct. Our analysis illuminates the nuanced relationship between internal governance mechanisms and misconduct, containing on the type of misconduct, which might offer insights into the ambiguities prevalent in the literature. Finally, this study contributes to the literature by introducing an index construct through principal component analysis and considering a multitude of variables into a manageable set of governance indices. Our findings underscore the significance of the connection between internal governance and corporate misconduct, emphasizing the need for a more detailed examination that better comprehend this relationship. Jensen Jensen in 1993 observes that when corporate board expands beyond 7 or 8 people, they are less likely to function effectively and monitor CEOs and managers. Similar, Jemack in 1996 presents evidence that small boards of directors are more effective than large boards. However, empirical studies on accounting fraud on board size yield mixed results. Beasley in 1996 reports that board size is possibly associated with the probability of change in the financial statement. By contrast, Yusun, Shuixing, and Barma in 2004 did not find evidence of a relationship between board size and corporate fraud, while document that board composition is significantly correlated with the insight of corporate fraud. These results led us to formulate our first hypothesis. Hypothesis 1. There is a relationship between board size and its composition and firm's misconduct. As a key member of the board of directors, the CEO plays a crucial role in fraud detection, owing to the consequence of misconduct discovery. Karpov and Lott in 1993 show that the most managers, including CEOs, who are caught violating the law typically face several consequences. Hypothesis 2. There is a relation between a strong CEO position within a board and firm's misconduct. A study conducted by Chen, Firth, Gao, and Rui in 2006 focused on a sample of Chinese companies subject to regulatory of enforcement action owing to fraud. Their analysis reveals interesting insight into the role of board and ownership characters in explaining fraud. Initially, the results of Univer analysis suggest that both board and ownership characters were significant factors in understanding fraud in these companies. However, a more sophisticated probit model analysis provides a clear picture. In this advanced analysis, it became evident that the boardroom characteristic, particularly the frequency of board meetings, played a crucial role in the inciting of fraud. These findings suggest that the board activity, as measured by the frequency of meetings, is a significant factor in detecting and preventing corporate fraud. Hypothesis 3. There is a relationship between board activity and firm misconduct. The committee committee is widely recognized as one of the most powerful committees within a corporation responsible in oversight corporate governance, financial reporting, internal control structures, and the audition function. It is not surprising that the literature concerning associates the presence and composition of an audit committee with fraudulent behavior within firms, as highlighted by Gaffran and O'Sullivan in 2013. Previous studies have provided valuable insights into this relationship. For instance, Agrawal and Chada in 2005 found that the independence of both the board of audit committees correlates with likelihood of a public company in the U.S. resident is earnings companies with independent directors and final experts on their boards or audit committees are likely to engage in earnings estimates. Coverside the probability of restatement in hired in companies in which the CEO has family ties with the founding family, suggesting the critical importance of audit committee composition in independence. Hypothesis 4 is there is a relationship between audit committee composition, its activity, and corporate misconduct. A firm ownership structure can significantly impact the oversight and behavior of its executive board. Dennis and Sarin in 1997 argued that when managers have a substantial ownership stake in the company, it can hinder external corporate control mechanisms and consequently reduce the effectiveness of internal monitoring efforts. Managerial ownership may create a situation in which managers have less incentive to monitor their action rigorously. And the end hypothesis. There is a relation between the shareholder structure of the firm and corporate misconduct. In summary, the existing empirical research strongly indicates a significant relationship between internal governance and corporate fraud. These findings align with the notion of the internal governance mechanisms, including board structure, are not static components, but rather adaptive response to the control and operation context of firms, following Nader and Young in 2008. The sample was generated from an overlap between two comprehensive databases. The first database, Violation Tracker, covers corporate misconduct from 2000 to 2020. That database was created and maintained by a non-governmental organization called Good Jobs First. It includes a wide range of corporate misconduct by U.S. incorporated companies, including subsidiaries of foreign companies. The second database includes information on the firm's board size and composition, board committees, audits, CEO, and ownership for the year 2007 to 2019. The data were retrieved from the NRG metric database, which stores public available documents such as annual reports, corporate governance, and reports from present CEC filings and press releases. The variable of interest in our study is corporate misconduct, defined as activities and actions in which organizational members engage to devise, deceive, or manipulate investors and other key stakeholders. In our study, corporate misconduct, which we recovered from the Violation Tracker database, includes only acts that violate laws. The data cover banking, consumer protection, false claims, and environmental, wage and hour, safety, discrimination, price fixing, and other cases resolved by federal regulatory agency and all parts of the Justice Department, as well as cases from the state attorney generals and select state regulatory agencies. Consequently, we do not cover legal acts that are considered morally wrong. The table one, I think the most important. The Table 1 presents the distribution of the different categories of violation according to the number of violation and penalty values in the sample. The data show that the most violations were related to safety, employment, and environment. These types of misconduct are quickly discovered and punished by regulators, which may explain their frequency in the sample furthermore. The highest average value of fines is related in the environment, reflecting thorough sentencing of environmental offense, presents evidence that the reputation cost of corporate fraud is high and constitutes the majority of costs incurred by companies accused of confidence or fraud. Therefore, both the number and value of misconduct have negative impacts on a company's long-term value. We follow and use the following two alternatives dependent variables in our model. The first variable is in the log of the total value of violations by firm E or I in year T value. This indicates direct damage to shareholders, as fines do not present an expense position for the companies. Instead, they are paid from in the net income and reduce the company's the amount of cash available to shareholders. The second variable is the log of the total numbers of violations by firm I in year T number, which shows the dynamics of corporate violation frequency if in a given year. Although the second variable does not directly damage the shareholders, we assume the companies involved in numerous violations may have a reputation problem. We find the coefficients of the ratio of independent board members is positively correlated with the amount of value corporate misconduct. The coefficient satisfactorily significant for all the specifications in both tables. Therefore, board independence, commonly used the corporate misconduct, is ineffective. Neville et al. In 2019 reported that the literature on board independence presented mixed evidence. However, they show that the board composition is important, particularly for that separation of the CEO from the board chair. Our results confirm that the separation of the CEO and board chairs is possibly and significantly correlated with corporate misconduct. These findings are consistent with the argument that CEO duality increases the power of the CEO over the board, preventing independence between the board and management, which is necessary for controlling the managerial establishment. Moreover, the greater that the influence of a CEO on the board, the less likely it is to expect irregularities that a more independent board might encounter. The results confirm that board size is related to the number of cases of corporate misconduct and penalty value. However, as expected, we now find a non-linear relationship between board size and corporate misconduct, and the coefficients of board size are statistically significant at the 1% level in all specifications. In other words, the results indicate that the number and value of penalties will decrease as the number of directors increases to a point where the relationship reaches a maximum, from which point the relationship will change. The misconduct will start to grow again, the number of directors increase. The conclusion of this article is: over the last 2 decades, there has been comprehensive overhaul of corporate governance regulation in the United States, and worldwide reforms were initiated after large scandals and were aimed at preventing future fraud despite legal and public efforts to improve corporate governance. Corporate misconduct in the US has not decreased. In recent decades, our results show that one reason for this is that not all governance mechanisms work as expected. Although we show that board size and composition are important for fraud prevention, we do not find that improving board independence reduces corporate misconduct. We find that gender diversity may reduce corporate misconduct, but only for female directors as opposed to female CEOs, and not for all types of offenses. We further demonstrate the audit committees and their activities are important in fraud prevention. By contrast, we document that the strong position of the CEO, proxy by their dual position on the board and voting or ownership rights. And board ownership are possibly correlated with corporate misconduct. By contrast, we find that founder CEO less external blockholders and institutional shareholders prevent companies from violating laws. Our findings are important for understanding the different mechanisms of internal governance in corporate misconduct, a relevant topic in the ongoing debate on how to further improve corporate governance and mitigate instances of corporate misconduct. Bueno, como resumen de este largo artículo, el nombre del artículo en español es Mecanismos de gobernanza interna y mala conducta empresarial. Este estudio lo que pretende desde el principio es aportar a la literatura porque es un tema que casi no se ha estudiado, que casi no se ha tocado, que desde los puntos que se ha, digamos, estudiado o investigado, ha sido como desde la mala conducta empresarial, pero solamente desde una mala variable, desde una variable, perdón. Ellos lo evaluaron desde, digamos, el fraude, el componente medioambiental, el componente de finanzas, el componente de los empleados, que cumplan como con todas las regulaciones que piden para sus empleados, o sea, un montón de cosas y lo vieron desde un ámbito general. Utilizaron una muestra de 2.844 empresas estadounidenses en un periodo desde el 2007 hasta el 2019. Algo muy interesante que se demostró es que la independencia y propiedad que tengan los miembros del Consejo Interno del gobierno corporativo está correlacionada positivamente con las actividades fraudulentas de una empresa. Entonces, esto concluye que no todos los mecanismos de gobierno corporativo están relacionados con la reducción de la mala conducta empresarial. También, digamos que antes habían estudios que decían que mientras más pequeño fuera el consejo interno, fuera sí, el consejo del gobierno empresarial, pues iba a ser mucho más efectivo de hacerles auditoría, de evaluarlos y de controlar de pronto estas malas conductas empresariales o el fraude. Luego unos estudios más adelante dijeron que no tenía nada que ver el tamaño del consejo interno con los fraudes o con la mala conducta empresarial y este estudio lo reconfirma, no tiene ninguna relación positiva o negativa, el tamaño del consejo interno con lo que se pueda evitar de fraude. Eso va más que todo en las buenas prácticas de gobierno corporativo y tener un muy buen sistema y una muy buena dinámica de auditoría. También se encuentra algo muy interesante y es que tener mujeres en el consejo interno, se encuentra que tener personas de género femenino en el consejo interno mitiga bastante o incluso ayuda a disminuir los posibles fraudes y la mala conducta empresarial. Entonces se muestra que la diversidad de género, tener una buena dinámica de auditoría es bueno para la prevención del fraude. También se descubre que los CEO fundadores deben estar, lo más recomendable es que sean diferentes al director del consejo interno, sea diferente al director de, de la junta directiva, el presidente, perdón, de la junta directiva, sea diferente al CEO. Eso también va a ayudar mucho en los procesos de auditoría y también a la prevención del fraude. Se encontró que los CEO fundadores, los grandes accionistas externos e internos y los accionistas institucionales son estos entes dentro del conjunto interno y los entes de la empresa que más van a evitar que las empresas infrinjan en las leyes. Se va a apagar. Este artículo está súper interesante porque aporta datos, digamos, frescos, también datos nuevos a este tipo de literatura y tiene resultados muy interesantes para comprender los diferentes mecanismos del gobierno corporativo interno y las malas conductas empresariales, cómo se pueden evitar y también esto eh, que las puede producir o que las puede impulsar. Eso ha sido todo por este artículo. Muchísimas gracias.